All right, we are live, everybody. Hello, everybody, and how are you? And welcome to Spiritually Raw. And as always, thank you so much for your energy exchange with us today. And we hope you woke to the most miracle, the most fortunate day today. So our good fortune as we roll out this 5D economy, bringing everything from the heaven to earth. So we have our soul sister, Deni Robinson, here with us, who is the embodiment of the 5D economy.
You really are.
Yeah, she really is. And she's going to share with us how she has really made such an impact of not only helping thousands, countless lives, really, and but really becoming abundant by helping other people become abundant. That's really what it's like, right? So we're going to get to hear her story right there. And we know as we do these shows that everybody always rushes to the link. So quick housekeeping, right? So when you go to the link, there's a phone number there. We recommend that you do contact us before you try to enroll yourself, because, you know, like the technology is like the Jetsons, right? The website's kind of like the Flintstones. So, but you know, it's all good. We'll get you through it. So anyway, the number's right there. Reach out to us and we're happy to help you. So about our guest, yeah?
Yes, thank you so much. We're so super excited to have you on this show. You're like the queen of ASEA. And we're so interested to hear about your story, how you got started, why you got started. And if I'm not mistaken, correct me if I'm off on this, but aren't you the top person in ASEA right now?
I am blessed and honored to be the #2 income earner in the company.
Wow.
And you guys, let me tell you, the 2 top income earners in the company are blonde housewives. You know, I do tell people, Jay, it's kind of funny. My tagline often is, I tell people I've got a PhD, a public high school diploma, and 2 years of college. But because of network marketing, because of the self-development program wrapped up in this compensation plan, I've gotten an MBA, a massive bank account. And one time my daughter asked me, Mom, what money do you make? Because they showed an income disclosure and my income wasn't there. And I said, honey, I make gangsta money and it's legal. But that's only being in the benefit of other people. I often tell people the life that we're now able to live is far beyond the circumstances of how I was raised and what that experience, had I stayed there, would have ever allowed me to experience. Guys, just on a quick note, I was raised in Montana in a very small town. I had 28 people in my graduating class. If you did anything, you did everything. I used to, sing the national anthem. Then I would do drill team and I would change into my cheerleading outfit. And, we just did all the things. But one thing I love about that small school experience is that it allowed me to not just be able to do one thing, the mindset of, well, I can do that. And I often tell people the 4 most powerful words that will come out of anyone's mouth in whatever endeavor you do, or I can do that. And I actually graduated at 16 years of age. I took 2 years in one. There were some difficulties happening and I worked hard and my parents dropped me off at college at 17 with absolutely no support. And my dad was like, you can do it, right? And then Tom and I got married after 2 years I went to college and we had a baby before we were 20.
Wow.
We lived in a 40-foot travel trailer, like 2 tip outs, Tom was working Highline construction. And I actually went to my first direct sales party and I just wanted the free stuff. And they said, if you did 6 parties, you could get the free stuff. And I thought, well, I can do that. Mm-hmm. And so I signed up, went to a meeting and found out that managers got company cars. And I thought, well, that's what I want to do. I could do that. In a couple of months, I had my first company car and I told Tom, if you go back to school, I think I can make some money if you'll go back to school. And so I was able to put him through college and graduate school. And we came out of graduate school with, money in the bank and no debt.
That's wonderful.
And, but after 10 years and actually being a top manager in the nation, earning 10 cars, I stumbled upon my first network marketing company and it was a health company. And I actually left when I was the very top manager in my region. And because health to me is your truest wealth. Mm-hmm. And, it was interesting really quickly when I started to have people tell me, thank you for what the product did with them with tears in their eyes. I thought, I've never had someone come to me with tears in their eyes and say, Deni, thank you so much. You keep my food so fresh, because I sold some plastic products. But I did learn in that company that you can have the right product, but if you don't have the right corporate structure, things can fall apart. And one thing about me, you guys, is I have to believe with my whole heart. And so I remove myself from that company, and it'll be 13 years this December, when a girlfriend called me and said, Deni, I'd like you to take a listen to a call tonight. Now, just like all of you that are probably listening to this, you're using all 24 hours of your day. But I was so grateful, because I loved and respected her, that I said, I'll give it a half an hour. But there were things that I heard on that call that made sense to me. The biggest reason, Jane April, is that I have 4 children. They're all grown now. They're married. I actually have 10 grandchildren. One more on the way. You guys, great products, let me tell you. Incredibly anti-aging. But actually, when she was 12 years of age, and I can say this because it has nothing to do with ASEA, and she's 32 now, but she had a cellular breakdown. We did chemo. I wouldn't do radiation. Had a doctor screaming at me, pounding on the table. And I would just say to him, so what you're telling me is she has a cellular breakdown? And he would say, yes. And I would say, so what you're telling me is if I can increase her own body's immunity to deal with things, we could turn things around. And he would say, well, yes, in theory. And I said, I just don't believe there's any theory in that. And again, she's a happy, healthy 32-year-old triathlete, business coach, and now does this business with me. So when I heard about this company 13 years ago, at the end of that call, because of that journey with my daughter, it made sense. Within a few days, I had the opportunity to fly down and meet the founders of the company. And everyone, I told you my level of education, right? I'm not a nurse, I'm not a doctor. But at the end of the day, after they told us about all of the research, where this was headed down a pharmaceutical path for 17 years of so much research, I remember asking, so what would it do for this kind of condition, malady, or perhaps disease in the body? And when the atomic medical physicist that helped stabilize the product leaned forward and said, Deni, does what you're describing have a cell involved? I said, I get it. I'm in. And
chills.
It truly. And the biggest thing when you say chills, we were so busy. And the first year I didn't really build the business. We were building our dream home and I was the general contractor. But after that was done, I went on a molecular mission, if you will, in a small town of a couple 100,000 people. And the more people I shared the product with, literally, the more miracles that I saw. And my husband actually owned a large accounting firm. I've actually retired him. And people used to say, how's your wife's little business going? And he would say, it's going real good. And he would start to say, Deni, do you understand how much money you're making? And I'd say, no, but let me tell you the stories of this person or what it's doing, or these friends that I was helping financially, because this was not just a financial play for me, obviously. Again, we had an incredible lifestyle, but because of ASEA, we now live a life beyond, well, I dreamt about it, but beyond what I thought my dreams, what could happen. And again, it's only been through being a small conduit of good, of sharing this product around the world.
Mm-hmm.
Wow, that's amazing.
That is a beautiful story.
You know what? So
thank you for sharing.
We have, we're in that pivotal point in humanity, and in our world, just we're really hearing a lot of everything, right, going down, and there's a lot of this whole, the whole proverbial, the sky's falling thing, right? So you obviously haven't seen it that way.
Your sky's not falling.
You know what? I've never looked at it that way, and I've had some very horrific things happen in my life. The biggest thing I've always learned is never curse the journey, because every bump and bruise and hard thing that I've lived through has gotten to me where I am now. And I've always embraced, life's not happening to me, it's happening for me. What am I learning from this lesson? And I better get this lesson, because if not, it's probably going to happen again. And so I'm just I balance gratitude a lot with manifestation. I'm a pretty powerful manifester, but it's always got to be about gratitude, because I promise whoever's watching this, and I've traveled the world a lot, there is someone who has it worse than you do, who would change places with you in a heartbeat, is what I feel.
And you just got back from Paris and Monaco, yeah?
Paris and Monaco and Nice and Budapest, about to leave to French Polynesia in just over a week. And all of that has happened because I opened my mouth in a small town in Washington State.
So, I just want to get the dynamic, everybody that's watching right now, what you're witnessing, what you're watching is a real energy about how life's supposed to be like. So it shouldn't be like, I don't believe we're here on this planet Earth or whatever you want to call it, or whatever your faith is, to have to figure stuff out and to suffer, to learn the lesson. Yeah, you're going to have the bumps around the road, but I think you can pull the stuff down. Yeah. And you're doing it. And I know you've dedicated so much of your life towards helping people get there. I do want to ask you this, for those watching right now, what are some of your core disciplines, okay, that you feel like, okay, got you, okay, like, hey, I'm at the top of my game, okay, and I get this, and you're solid with it. But what are some of the core disciplines, number one? Number two, can you tag on with that and say, what are some of the most common mistakes and thought processes people are making right now when they get into these types of businesses?
As the number 6 of 7 children of a father who was raised in the Great Depression, it was often the tagline was use it up, wear it out, make it do or do without, right? But we were raised to work, and very religious family growing up. But it was, my dad would say, Deni, God can move mountains, but don't be surprised if he hands you a shovel and a pickaxe. And it was get down and pray like it's all up to God, but get up and work like it's all up to you. And again, nothing, you guys, by the time I was 12, I was buying all my own toiletries. By the time I was 14, all my own clothing. We were just raised to work. And my dad, it was, and he'd been on disability, had some real health concerns, but it was always, you can be, do, and have anything you want if you're willing to work for it. Again, I was dropped off at 16 at college, and they were done. And so I think you guys, grit can move mountains. And I think one of my greatest gifts is persistence. My husband will tell you, when I get focused on something, I'm like a racehorse, and I have horses. I used to show him, and I still have to. He goes, you're like a horse with blinders on. You're not looking to the left. You're not looking to the right. You're just looking at, there's going to be obstacles. You're going to go over them, through them, kick out the window, whatever. And I think that's the biggest thing is I am extremely disciplined and extremely self-motivated. I don't need to usually have someone to prod me on. I have one of my sons one time said, Mom, do you always get everything you want? And I said, nope, I only get what I really, 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 really want. Because if it's something that you really, really, really want, you're probably going to do it. Would I like to play the guitar? Yeah, I would. But am I willing to put in the sacrifice? Because I do realize there is a sacrifice. As I mentioned, I was using all 24 hours of my day before this opportunity arose. And I always tell people, opportunity can come at the most unexpected times, and it's not how convenient it is, it's how you open the door. And I'm so grateful that I opened the door. I've often thought, what if I'd said no? Especially now as I've traveled the globe, I have a business that operates with people getting paid in 33 countries, with it being shipped to many others. And as I've been in rooms where my voice is being translated into numerous languages, I remember one of the first times that happened, I was in Norway doing meetings in Sweden. It was being translated in Swedish, and I had been in the back of the room, and they were doing the testimonials on this product. And I didn't understand the words, but the same emotion that I see as I've, traveled through the US, I could see that emotion, and I could feel what their heart was saying. And I think that emotion is universal. And I sat in the back of that room, and I just wept like a little girl, thinking, because I opened my mouth, these lives are being changed. And many of you, if you're on this call, this is network marketing, but I often tell people the goal of network marketing is to plant a seed and water it well, right? That can grow into a tree and leave shade for generations. And I am in the business of changing lives unborn. I've seen that happen in my own family. I had one grandchild. Now I have almost 11. And I have people who call me and text me and message me and WhatsApp me every day who say, you don't know me, but you told someone who told someone who told someone who told someone who told someone. And this is what this product has done for me. And I just think, what if I hadn't opened my mouth? I didn't know anything about redox, you guys. Again, I was a blonde housewife, but I just told the stories. And I had so many people tell me no. And I often say the person with the testimonial is never at the mercy with the person with an argument, because I had some very smart, skilled, educated people telling me this stuff didn't work. And I said, oh, well, yes, it does. And I just kept on looking for people who were looking for me. And I believe that the universe opened and people have serendipitously come into my path. And every day I just pray, whom can I help and whom can I serve? And people have shown up. And Jay and April, every time that happens, I said, you are the person I was supposed to talk today, with today. And I just have a gift to offer. And what you do with that is your choice.
That's beautiful. I love your whole outlook on life in general. It's very inspiring because you really are at the pinnacle in your career. And you absolutely could sit back and not do any shows, not talk to any people, and not do any speaking engagements. But yet you're doing the exact opposite. You're in the forefront. You're speaking. You're in social media. You're literally like all over the place. So at this point in your life, why are you still doing it?
I was also raised knowing where much is given, much is expected. And I have been blessed beyond belief. And I love this so much. I love what I do. I love who I do it with. And I love being a small conduit for good. People often ask me, Deni, you're going to retire? I say, retire from what? Traveling the world, seeing new places. When I travel and I go to an area, I'm not just a tourist. I'm there with new dear friends, seeing their life through their eyes and really getting to make relationships and experiences. Sometimes when Tom and I would go to his business functions and people would talk about that one major trip they might take for the year. And I'd be looking at my calendar going, oh, where I was blessed and able to go, because all I need to be in business is, I used to think, you want a home-based business. You guys, I don't even have a laptop lifestyle. I work my business on my phone. And my husband, again, CPA, master's degree. My son has a master's degree, worked there. My husband used to say, Deni, do you understand what you've been able to do? He would say, you're my most profitable client, because the way my income just grew so quickly. He would say, honey, I love you, but this doesn't happen in the real world. You have no brick and mortar business. You have no employees. And he would reiterate that, no employees. And he would say, you get to work when you want, where you want, as much as you want, because you are going to work hard, but you get to choose your hard and work those hours within your life. I mean, that's what I love, April, is I've been able to create a professional life around the rest of my life. And I've never went to bed so tired sometimes, but I've never woken up so excited to do it all again.
Exactly how
exactly
we feel.
how it feels. So many people have been in network marketing companies, and it's always like everybody, it's like, never say never, right? And then here we are again. So,
this is the last stop.
This is the last stop. It really is. It feels like the last stop. It really does. But I want to say to you, when we uncovered this blue and white, and we first realized that, number one, we knew pretty early on that, okay, this is very different. So it's not another lotion, potion, or shake, right? And I believe this, and I'd like to know your opinion on this. But I believe, as much as people doubt it or they shame it or whatever, my personal instinct on this is, I believe everybody really does want this kind of business. Okay, like that has a ripple effect. They're just afraid to admit it. What's your vibe on that?
I'm going to go back to what you said for a minute, that you hope this is the last venture. I guess what went through my mind at the time when I was hearing from the founder of the company that day, I just thought, if this isn't it, I don't know what it is. Because I believe that we're a spiritual being, right? And we're just made up of trillions and trillions of cells, highly organized cells. But I thought, and especially going through my daughter's experience, my daughter at 12 had great nutrition, great exercise, but she had a cellular breakdown. And to me, I take ASEA as the number one most foundational thing I put in my body, because if your cells aren't communicating, just like right now, if we didn't have a good connection, I'd be fuzzy and cutting out. But it's kind of like when we're on the phone, if I called you, Jay, and I'd be like, can you hear me now? Let me go over here, right? That's what ASEA is doing. It's amplifying and clarifying the signal from cell to cell and from within each cell what it's supposed to be doing. So I drink my ASEA, then I add good nutrition, lots of water, supplementation, exercise, meditation, so that my body can do what it was designed to do. And so for me, what's so incredible about this is this product literally affects the sickest of the sick to the fittest of the fit and everybody in between. And again, my husband and I both come from families of 7. My children actually even say, when you put me in a picture with my own siblings, I kind of look like their child. And, some of them are, the next one's 3 years older, but there is no doubt the anti-aging benefits of these things. And to see how we still, we're going to be wake surfing again later today. And the way we ski, I ride horses, the way we're able to do things, and just how, again, how healthy we are. It's just amazing. I'm so grateful because, again, health is wealth with my daughter's case and people that I know. Doesn't matter how much money you have, you would spend anything you have for a loved one to make them well.
Absolutely.
And so again, this has no downside whatsoever. I don't care if you guys, I believe the 2 major issues we all suffer with while on this planet are our health and our wealth and our relationships, right? Which I think can be benefited by your health or your wealth. And so what I love is no matter where I go, no matter who I meet, I know unequivocally that I have something that can make a difference for people, and they get to choose, But it's so funny. I've had people who think they want to just come in for the business because the business is incredible. But I tell them, you come in for the business, the product will get you, right? Because the product is so profound and you start to see what it does in people's lives. But then I see people who just want to come in for the product. But then what happens is they're like, I have to share this with everybody.
That's what we're running through.
We see that all. I've never seen anything like that ever. I mean, in the network marketing, I've never seen a wave of people they're the most unassuming people in the world, right? And you never think they're and you don't even talk to them about it, but yet they're calling you. They're like, okay, got to get this to this person. How do I do this? Can you do this? So that's pretty cool. I want to
address this. Yeah. Okay. So Lee, I'm making a genuine effort. Was it this one? Okay. Hold on. Wait. Hold on. Let me go back.
Is it the person that's saying?
It's Lee. Yes. Let's address you, Lee. Is redox the same as MMS? I've hated having to order blue bottles every month. Honestly, it's pathetic. Can't we make it at home? It's distilled water. Now, I could go off on a tangent, but luckily I don't have to because I have someone that knows way more than I do at this point. So please, let's indulge. Let's answer him.
All right, you guys. I'm not a doctor. I'm not a scientist. But let me tell you what ASEA does. And I've been I can't even tell you how many times I've been at the facility. So I remember asking the founder, and again, you guys, again, PhD, I would say, so what this stuff is, and the one scientist would be like, well, Deni, if I were to cut you open, take out your cells and squeeze it and put it in a glass, right? This stuff is in exact accordance to what your own body produces, simply not as much as we age or if there's a breakdown. But there's really 2 breakthroughs with ASEA. The first one is that they've been able to really just take sodium chloride, hydrogen and oxygen, salt and water, and put it in these huge containers. And think about it. Everything in your body happens in a saline saltwater solution. Your tears are salty, your sweat is salty, amniotic fluid is salty. And you guys, they tried to flavor it and they tried to color it, but your body isn't flavored and colored. So the first breakthrough is that they've been able to put this in these big containers, these vats, and plug it in, right, if you will. It goes through it used to take 3 days, and it doesn't even take that long now, through a highly processed, hydrolyzed process, which splits apart and rearranges those molecules that I mentioned. But here's the incredible thing. Then they unplug it And it's still stabilized reactive molecules that are now able to be bottled. And so the second breakthrough, and now shipped and have a stabilization life of 2 years. That's what's incredible. And you can't be allergic to it. And as one of my doctors would say, it's as safe as swallowing your own spit, because it is. You can spray it in your eyes, you can spray it on things, and people just get results. And whether you feel it or not, we know from all the studies what it's doing in your body.
You know, it's interesting that all of a sudden people learn how to become scientists, right? So,
And
biologists, like just over like in and I, like, you know,
I'm just gonna cook it up in the kitchen by myself.
Wow. So, you know, it's that kind of thought process, you know, just, it's like, you know, it's one of those things just to help people out in life. Because, you know, inherently, I think people want something. They want a better life. They want a better way. They just want a better existence for them. And, you know, we say the ones that rely on them the most. So part of it is asking for it and just claiming it, like what you've done, right? And like you said, sometimes you got to have the shovel and the pitchfork to go along with it. But at least you get some direction by asking for it. You know, there's people that are joining these network marketing. Let's talk ASEA, because I tell you right now, we said 9 months ago, never again. And but it was this, when we tried it, it was like, Deni, it was for us, it was like, okay, you know what? We just got a responsibility. Yeah. And it was really, we came from that place. Like, you know, we have this show and like, you know, let's just share it. It's like, there's something, because I believe this has come from whatever one deems as the heavens, you know, whatever
I agree.
Is. I really do. And so I believe we're very privileged.
Well, and I could go there with a lot of stories. I've been around mediums. I mean, it's incredible. Even though, anyway, that's a whole other show, right? But like I mentioned, ASEA is the most holistic thing you could put in your body. Again, it's something that your own body produces, simply not as much of. And hey, there's other supplements that I take, but ASEA is not a berry. It's not a juice. It's something that's not digested. When you drink it, swish it in your mouth. It sublingually goes through all the soft tissues, and your gums often get better, right? It actually, since it's so small, can go through the blood-brain. I mean, people who have issues with, you know, not feeling good, the brain's not clear. Often, I've had people who are just like, the sun has come out again. And, you know, a phrase that I often used to hear from people as I would travel is they would say, you know, what's interesting is my stress level hasn't changed, but my ability to cope with it has. Or I would hear, my sense of well-being is so increased. And I thought, you know what? If I am doing nothing else but increasing the way people feel, their sense of well-being, I'm winning. But you guys, I want you to all think about that. People spend big money on ways that they can make them feel differently. Think about it, in good ways and bad ways, right? And this has, again, no downside. And what I love is I literally have people who have cold reptile, you know, specialists. I have people who use this in germinating very expensive seeds. I have people who use this on very small, sick children, on ailing parents. We literally see people in theirs, you know, hey, and I'm going on 60, but 60s, 70s, and 80s healing like not healing, but even feeling. And I often ask people, if I could make you look and feel 5, 10, or 15 years younger, would you want to know about it? Who on this call wouldn't like to look or feel 5 or 10 or 15 years younger? I don't think there's anybody.
Did you get that line, everybody, that she just said? Didn't rewind this and just capture that, because that's what, you know, someone at the top says. You know what I mean?
And what happens is you might take this because you think you've got this one thing happening in your body. But well, here's what I'll tell you. Again, I grew up in Montana, lots of big wildfires. And think about it. Sometimes they go to put out a fire, and it's not the biggest fire that gets put out first, right? It's the smaller fires before they can get the big fire. And what you might start to notice is you have this one big thing in your body, but you go, gosh, I'm sleeping better. My knee doesn't hurt. My hip doesn't hurt. I've got more stamina. I remember for me, I was running quite a bit at the time when I first got in, and I felt like Kenny G, the saxophonist. I wanted to go further, longer, faster. I wanted to go do it again. And you know what? Within 2 weeks of taking ASEA, I was on the phone with trainers at the Colorado Springs, the high altitude training facility for the Olympics. And this guy was telling me, he said, we have these athletes on this product and there is no way, because, you know, this is what we do. There's no way that we should see these gains in this amount of time.
Wow.
You know what I love? Jay and I are runners too. That was one that probably in the very beginning was the most noticeable thing for the both of us.
It was really weird. It was like,
yeah,
oh, man.
because not only were we not having any like lactic acid buildup, we weren't having any. There was like no recovery, and we could literally get up the next day and just take off and go longer and faster. But the other thing that we really, really love about it is the, in addition to obviously the anti-aging, that is like the best thing ever. But the clarity, the mental clarity and the connection to a higher source. And you just feel very connected. You feel very centered. You feel very balanced. It's also made a huge difference in our eating habits because it is making us want to, it's making us healthier. So it's making us want to eat a lot better than we ever have. It's helped tremendously cut out a huge, because we're like sugarholics, which is our biggest issue. And really, really helped cut the sugar cravings down tremendously. But it's also altered our entire eating habits.
Well, and people often mention that those cravings are often diminished. And, you know, I think it helps you vibrate at a better level, right? And when you're doing that, you do want to make better choices. And those blood sugar things that you mentioned, I have seen people where they're just not reaching for that cookie, right? Those sugar levels are far more balanced out. Again, there's just no downside. And again, you're going to hear those stories. And then on the other side, they just get so dramatic. But everyone who takes this will start to notice something, especially over time. And I always tell people, you know, if you go to the gym or you work with a coach, how long are they going to say that before you see some changes? And they'll say a good 12 weeks, 3 months, right? Mm-hmm. For all of you who might be wanting to try this, you guys, I've had people who were only going to give it a month. And on day 31, they called me because I said, just give it some more time. And they called me and they've had dramatic things happen. And they said, what if I quit? And I said, exactly. Because it just kind of seems to get better. And, you know, the interesting thing now, after drinking it for almost 13 years, I mean, we just feel good. But where I really notice it is when we travel and I run out of it. And then we get home and I drink it. And I feel like, how many of you have had a house plant and you get home and it's kind of wilted and you water it and you can literally see it go like this? That's what I feel like when I get my ASEA back in me. Yeah.
Sure. You know, I said to Jay this morning, instead of people constantly in their mind being like, well, what if it doesn't work? What if it doesn't work? What if it doesn't work? How about if you just flip that philosophy and say, what about if it actually does work?
You know what? It's like everybody for the last, I mean, since we know anyway, for a long time has been saying, look, there'll be this technology that'll come from somewhere, whether you call it the aliens, heavens again, whatever, but it'll be here. And it's up to you. But it's been always here for 13 years, as far as we understand. It's been here. And I believe the you know, there's, you know, whatever, maybe the wool's been over your eyes, but it's here. Okay. This is exactly what, our show has been describing for the last couple of years, interviewing people on before we even knew about this. Other shows, it's the same thing.
As a med bed, if
right.
You've heard about the med bed technology.
It's that feeling, that age reversal, that like living younger longer, as Dr. David says. Wow, you know, this is really, and then you vibrate. So like, this is what's really cool. You vibrate at such a high level. It's hard not to attract abundance in your life, whatever your definition of abundance is, because you're at one with the universe.
And for anyone that, just real quick, these two products, if this is the first time you're tuning in, just very simply, this is cellular rejuvenation for the interior. This is cellular rejuvenation for the exterior. Exactly. And they work. That right here, it's a marriage made in heaven. I mean, honestly, I don't know which one I love more. I equally love both of them so much. But if you're looking for absolute instant gratification, this is going to do it. If you're looking for, like, you just want your skin, you know, you want to feel like a little bit more like you know, this and a little bit of this, Maybe it's your knees, your elbows.
I feel like I'm watching QVC right now.
Maybe
it's great.
It's your knees, it's your your elbows. It could be like something on your skin. This is going to do it. Also, Deni, we spent the summer down in South Florida, and before we went down there, I said to Jay, I absolutely refuse to use any sunscreen. I'm not going to do it this year because I'm not going to sit there and consciously goop all of this toxic glue onto my skin. So I said, I'm going to just test it because South Florida, the sun is very, very intense, very intense. So this was my sunscreen replacement. I never had better summer skin. My skin was never dry. I did not peel. Yes, in Lauderdale Beach, I did not burn, and it just totally kept my skin in perfect condition and balance and harmony as well.
I agree with that. Well, I love that product, and that's what I tell people. Use the Renew 28, and I say, please take a picture because you will notice a difference. But I can't, as a layperson, put a camera inside your body. But those same age spots, wrinkles, whatever are happening on the inside. And when they start to see the picture of the before and after, I'm like, just imagine what that would do on the inside of your body. Again, just incredible results. You mentioned people who don't think it'll work. We have a doctor one time who came in and said, well, it's just a placebo. And he got great results. And he goes, again, well, it's just a placebo. And we said, no. A placebo is when you say it'll work and it does. You said it wouldn't and it did, right? And you guys just give it some time and see what it does in your own body. Again, are you looking for better health, better skin? And if you put me, my daughter's taken pictures of me from when I first got started even to now. It's like my husband and I have been put in a time warp. And even all the leaders that I work with, we should just do side by sides of all of us to live as healthy and as vibrantly out making a difference, feeling this way. It's just, you just almost want to keep it to yourself, but you can't because you want to tell everybody about it.
Before we get to the next question, you mentioned you're almost 60. You look amazing. I'm 55, Jay is 51, and we can honestly say that we are in the best mental, physical, spiritual, and prosperity, the best that we've ever been, all four in our entire lives. And we're the most balanced we have been, and our relationship is the best that it's ever been because I'm going to give a lot of credit right here to our little blue friend.
Take another shot.
Because you don't get triggered like how you would normally get triggered. Things that used to piss you off or tick you off or trigger you very quickly, you're just like, you don't even faze me. So in terms of a relationship, this is another reason why we feel so passionate about it, because if you're having issues with your children, you're having issues with anybody that is living in your household, this is going to help bring peace and harmony into the house. And that is priceless.
We I can talk about this because my mom says I can talk about her now. But she's just got out of surgery, right? And she's in her 80s and just chronic discomfort, I think is what we're allowed to say, right? Chronic discomfort and, just really just totally down all the time up until this. Mm-hmm. Now it's like the light bulbs come on. She's a completely different person. She's great to be around. She's always happy. She's right now, like nothing's phasing her. Mm-hmm. And she doesn't have the discomfort. I asked her, I'm like, have you taken your stuff? She's like, I keep forgetting because I don't need to. Mm-hmm. Right. So it's just amazing to watch that someone, wherever you're at your age of life. I mean, that person at that age of life is now is gone from,
very, very depressed.
From like, I can't wait for this life to be over to, mm-hmm. Hey, you know what? Did you got any more of that blue and that white? Make sure I get that blue and the white because I want to enjoy this life now. And so I know a lot of people, it's a circle of life. It is what it is. We're all eventually go through it. It's just how fast you want to get there, right? And how fast you want to stay here. So.
Well, and I always tell people, my intent is to live younger, longer. But I often tell people, do you want to live longer or die longer? Because I've seen a lot of people die longer for a long, long time. Mm-hmm. And for me, it's about living vibrantly. And you know what I love about this too is I mean, I have people of all ages building a business with ASEA, but I have people who come into their business in their 60s and late 70s who've gotten the passion back because they're like, where else can I go to work? I can go be a door greeter at Walmart, but in this, I get to share something I'm passionate about with people that it means a lot to, that increases their quality of life. You guys, how does it get any better than that? And what I have found is there truly is nothing better than making a living while making a difference, because I don't believe a dollar that you earn is always a dollar, right? There's a lot of things that you can do to make money. But to me, there's never been a more pure form of business where I tell people, if you want to make a little money, just go out and share this with some of your friends and family. And if you want to make more money, help those people share it with other people. And, but what I'll always tell people is that if you're interested in the business, there's an income level for whatever output level that you would like to be engaged in. You know, Jay and April, when I got involved in the company, the founder used to tell us of his vision for this. And I think that's what I was so attracted to. He was so sure of what this product would do for people around the globe that I actually believed in him before I believed in the product, right? Because here he had been a top strategist for Kraft General Foods. He didn't even start this company until he was 69, and he did not have to. These weren't a couple of guys sitting around a table thinking, what can we do to make some money? They truly turned down a huge offering from a pharmaceutical company to get this out of the world. And the only reason any of you are sitting here on this call today is because it arose out of some men who were under a bigger obligation to humanity than just getting a big check. And as I traveled the world with that man, I just used to tell him, it is my mission to make your vision come to fruition. And I think, Jay and April, that's still what drives me, is that we're not done yet. I just know, again, that there's people who are hoping and praying for a difference in their life. They just don't know yet that it's going to come in that beautiful blue and white, as you mentioned. And if you are on this call, you guys, take a chance, call this number that they have right here. You have nothing to lose and everything to gain.
Thank you so much for sharing that. I do want to answer one of the questions, if you could, Deni, please. They wanted to know what is in it. This is all natural and all organic. Can you share the two ingredients?
Salt and water. So sodium chloride, hydrogen, oxygen. That's all it is. That's all it is. But think about, like I said, your body, everything in is bathed when they talk about, the water content of your body. But again, when it goes through that process, it's no longer salt and water. These are redox molecules. And again, they're made in your own body during the ATP process. For 50 years, science has known about them, but they thought they were waste coming out of like the back of a car. They weren't necessary. You guys, as we know, there's nothing that's not necessary that happens in our body. It all happens very divinely. And so again, two breakthroughs that we could recreate something that your own body's creating in literally milliseconds, and then that we could stabilize it, put it in the big blue bottle, and ship it around the world. Amazing.
I want to just, as people are watching this right now and looking, they're here for a reason. Everybody's watching this, everything right for a reason, right? So, I just want to really stress to people, like when you get the people in your life, as you start to make the motions of this, because you're proud of this and you know what it's doing for you, that give you whatever that they give you. First of all, just realize that, you are doing this out of love, right? So it's a very different place you're doing it from. And if someone does, try to shame you on this because it's one of those kind of things like that, what I would suggest is you send that energy back to hell where it belongs. You know what I mean? Because it doesn't belong. It's not a good thing. Because everybody, I really want to get this. A real humanity, we believe they should applaud you for your success. They should applaud you for your drive, your willingness to be able to figure out what planet Earth has to offer us. And you're going through the motions. They should be rooting you on. And if it's something that's not, just take a look at that. And I think you'll get a good perspective. But use your discernment.
It's usually a reflection more often than not. It's usually a reflection of some kind of stuff that's going on in their lives that they feel the need to regurgitate it all over everybody else's stuff. So do keep that in mind. We've had nothing but incredible experiences. We've had nothing but awesome feedback. We've had tears. We've had joy. We've had people literally from around the world. Jay was on the phone this morning or yesterday with a mother and a daughter from Australia, from Europe. I mean, it's literally all around the world.
Crazy. It's
with
amazing.
Just incredible experiences. And more often than not, you talked about, you are also, we're speaking with a lot of people in the mediumship world and psychics. And obviously that's our, we know a lot of them as well. And we have more often than not, people say to us, I knew before I even got it that I was supposed to get it. My higher source said, this is exactly what you've been looking for. This is exactly what you want. And this is why we put this in front of you at this time.
And if you are a spiritual healer or in that world of doing that, where your people rely on you for advice like this, listen, you probably should really take a look at this seriously, because if you're given information that people are relying on, I could tell you this is like discernment, like boom, at Mach speed there for you. So it's probably a good business practice for you to make sure you've leveled up and use whatever technology is available to you. So when you do give advice to people, that you're giving it the best thing you got. And I personally believe that this has helped my discernment level. I'm on. You know what I mean? I know that I know. I know, and I know that I know that I know.
Yeah. Because this can make a difference in your life. But more than that is, people as obviously passionate as I and Jay and April are, people that we're never going to meet. And I know that you could make a difference in their life, because as we mentioned, those probably the friends of yours are hoping and praying. And it's interesting, as I mentioned, I always pray every day, whom can I help and whom can I serve? And I have this little deal that if someone's name is placed upon my heart and my mind, I'm going to give them a call. And some of those have taken me a couple of years. And because I just knew if they could see and know what I knew, they could change countless lives. And that's exactly what's happened. And the other thing is, there's been people that I've called that from the outside, I would have never known their circumstances. But on the inside, behind those closed doors, they were suffering. They were suffering physically and extremely financially. And this, I call ASEA a hope in a bottle, a health opportunity for people everywhere. And this has drastically changed, again, their health and their wealth.
I think it's drastically changed. I think it's going to drastically alter and change the course of humanity, because when you're healthy, you're happy. Absolutely. And when you're healthy, you're happy, you create prosperity. So it is from our point of view, it's the whole enchilada: mind, body, spirit, and prosperity. And it's everything we've ever been asking for. It's everything we've ever wanted. And it's radical anti-aging. It's not even anti-aging. It is literally radical anti-aging. And, the great thing about being on video is you can literally see how it's documented our course.
You put a picture up of us 10 years ago.
Yeah. And we look younger now.
Right. It's like, oh my God.
We look better now.
Who doesn't want that?
Right.
Exactly.
A camera says 1,000 words, a picture says 1,000 words. Deni, I want to thank you from all of us, everybody watching, for your service, for your service to humanity, and really your dedication to helping everybody have a better existence, not only mind, body, spirit, and prosperity. So really, again, thank you for that. And thank you for taking time to visit with us today and really sharing that essence of you. So everybody, this is energy right here. This is what's possible. This is real. We're having these conversations. There are no dark times. There are only dark times in your head. And there are great times ahead. So let's explore them. Let's get on the journey. And you know what? Let's get a boost here. So if you haven't tried this already, and you're not living at optimum performance, and you're not living younger longer, and you know who you are, the links will be in the description below. Reach out the number. Let's talk through it. Let's get you on the ride. And then hopefully the intent is one day that you will do what we're doing right now, which will surprise you and say, hey, you know what? I want to share this on a video with a bunch of people watching, because I know that'll help. And you know what? That's just what happens. We didn't think it, but here we are. So You know,
And there's no looking back.
there's no looking back, only looking forward. That's right. That's right. Thank you, everybody, for hanging.
The only reason to look back is to help other people along the way get to where you just were.
Yeah,
Exactly.
no,
Exactly. That's what it's all about.
that is.
Helping others, creating abundance by helping others create abundance, by creating the best life, by creating the best health for yourself, by helping others create the best life and health for themselves as well. What more could you possibly ask for?
That's right. That's right. So, everybody, we always want to thank you for hanging out with us as you always do. We wish you much love and prosperity on your journey in life. And again, thank you for our soul sister for hanging out with us too. It's been really great.
Thank you so much. And together with Deni's help, and ASEA's help, we are turning the universal key to global harmony and creating a unified world. Thank you so much for tuning in. And remember, tune in often, tell all your friends, and most importantly, may all your beautiful dreams come true. Many blessings.